Tip 3 to save money on your shopping fast relates to when to pay attention to brand claims. Now, you're most likely to be caught out by this by something that's been repackaged. So maybe you already buy it, but you notice that it's had a redesign, there's some fancy new claims on the redesign, or you notice something for the first time, and the reason it's jumping out at you is because there's some jazzy brand claim crying out to you. So some of us buy on automatic and don't really acknowledge what's on the packet, because in merchandising, you can end up with a form of consumer blindness where people just don't read on what's on the packet. This happens in a lot of workplaces as well, right? Like do you know where the fire exit is? Because we get so used to seeing those signs that we don't actually see them after a while, if that makes sense. Or do you have like a staff room or a notice board in an office where you can see what's on the wall or on the board all the time, but you actually have no idea what's on the wall or what's on the board? But it's also possible to make a decision based on a claim without necessarily realizing that that's what's informed our decision. On your next shop, when is a brand claim worth paying attention to? What if it says new improved recipe or 10% less sugar? How about fuller and thicker hair on your shampoo bottle? In the small print, it will usually clarify for legal purposes what these claims mean, and more often than not, they're pretty vague or the comparison is moot. The TV show Super Shoppers found one shampoo claimed fuller and thicker hair on the front of the bottle, and then the small print on the back compared this to unwashed hair. So, funnily enough, dirty hair that's lank and sweaty after a go-around with Joe Wicks, that came out wrong, will look thicker and fuller after a wash. Now, it would be impossible to read all the small print on every single product. However, this goes back to my other tips about not assuming you're getting a different, better product if you're buying from different categories from the same brand, and not assuming that just because something costs 7 times the economy brand and comes from a big manufacturer, that it's going to have any visible benefit or make you instantly happier. So if you find yourself picking up something new or more expensive than usual, ask yourself if you're being sucked in by a comparison on the front. So see if it actually specifies what they're comparing it to, because everything's relative, right? And something else really important, if you argue that you don't have time to research your purchases or really look at what you're being sold, how do you know that you're buying what you really need? It takes a few extra seconds to check this stuff, and fair enough, if you're doing a really big shop, times those seconds by all those items, that's a chunk of your life, right? But carrying on in the same way might be a false economy. So those seconds might save you a huge amount when you realize, I don't even know why I keep putting this in my basket. And it's because we don't take the time to stop and assess. It's quicker just to check out so that we can go back to work, earn some more money, because we need that money for the next time that we shop, or do we? Perhaps we'd have less urgency if we weren't kind of stuck on a hamster wheel of overspending because we're too busy to check what we're buying, because we need to pay to get back to work so that we can pay for the stuff we're too busy to check whether it's value for money or not. And if that sounds like a hot mess, that's because it is. Sorry, I just dropped the mic. Now, a cousin of these kind of claims is the use of marketing names versus legal names. So this might not be down to repackaging, it's just very common with processed food especially. So you're technically getting 2 tips in one here. So I talked previous about a marketing name that's attached to a year in the past. It doesn't mean that that product was invented then because the seller didn't even exist back then. But it's also possible to have a marketing name on the front and a legal name on the back. So a really quick and easy way to turn yourself off buying processed foods, if that's a money drain for you, is to look at the legal name versus the marketing name. So if a packet that says hot dogs on the front, it might say on the back, for example, mechanically separated meat, turkey, and brine. I like how the legal name refers to meat separately from turkey. I'm sure there's something to be interrogated there. Or how about the pack of cheese slices legally defined on the back of the packet as food slices? I'll just repeat that. Food slices made from a mix of skimmed milk concentrate, palm oil, and cheese. I have used cheese as currency to barter before, but that's not going to cut it. So the legal definition. How is food slices? How can you legally define something as food slices, but something that's called cheese on the front has to have a legal name on the back that includes cheese includes cheese in the ingredients, but I don't know. It's all very confusing. Remember, Coca-Cola is just a sparkling soft drink with vegetable extracts. So it says it right there on the bottle. That one's not really a secret. I think with this, you want to develop a habit of always paying attention to brand claims. But then once you've checked what it really means, you'll learn to disregard any claims that don't have a meaningful basis. And you'll likely learn what it's like to buy less processed food, which can have innate savings anyway. And again, if you still feel like, I don't have time for this, make it fun or something. Like, take a friend with you and just see what you can find that makes you chuckle. I don't know. These are all just ideas to try. Now, this came up in my blog post on Series 3 of Super Shoppers, where they were saying baby food that's labelled on the front as implying you're buying something meat or fish-based with a bit of veggies will then have a legal name on the back that clarifies that the meat or the fish is actually like the demoted ingredient. What I would say has changed about that since filming is that veganism has grown so much in popularity, or become so vocal maybe, that actually some parents would maybe be happier with the legal name and thinking that they're buying something that's mostly vegetables, especially when we're supposed to be eating at least 5 a day and the majority of our portions are meant to be vegetables anyway. But obviously, if you're skipping meat out of principle, then something either has meat or it doesn't. If you're hoping to eat less meat to save money, buying branded baby food isn't going to help you there. Although you could definitely save money by going plant-based, mainly if you buy as much of your shop raw as possible. If something's vegan and it needs a legal name on the back to clarify what it is versus the name on the front, you can also assume that that's less cost effective than making something similar yourself, that I would hope doesn't need clarifying to anyone in your household. It depends on what you like in the kitchen. I mean, I get by cooking from scratch. I've only melted 1 piece of plastic on the hob this year, and that serves me right for buying something in plastic. To the dungeon with me. I think new food and drink products are fascinating. I really enjoy going to the Free From show every year in London, and I definitely recommend that if you want like a free day out. I think as long as you register in advance, you can get tickets for free. And it's an opportunity to talk to brands of all age and sizes and try new things that might not even be in the shops yet. And they normally have like a vegetarian vegan show on at the same time. And part of my fascination is in seeing some of the claims that you'll see being made by new brands who aren't there the year after and who vanish because they built their brand on a house of sand. So it's usually like some kind of pseudoscience or health fad that panned out because there was no evidence for it. And some of the pricing is also fascinating. Our ability to make food very complicated so that it requires a complex legal name on the back of the packet. That's also fascinating. I'm going to take a 90-degree turn with the business application for yourself with this one, because aside from saying terms and conditions are great, you should definitely have those. If you need to put small print somewhere that explains your non-existent comparison, like, who are you really helping? I think big brands get away with this, but it's not something to emulate. You played yourself. Your DJ Khaled in his walk-in wardrobe, looking at his wall-to-wall sneaker collection that cost a fortune, saying, you played yourself. And if you want to sell your baked goods in the neighbourhood or like meals via Deliveroo, and they eventually end up in a packet on a supermarket shelf, maybe just try to have the legal name be as close as possible to the marketing name.